Members Taylor, Dewar, can you hear us?
I can.
Yes.
Perfect, thank you. All right.
Thank you. Oh, that was it.
Recording in progress.
Good morning. I'd like to call the Truckee Meadows Water Authority Board of Directors meeting to order on February 18th, 2026 at 10:02 a.m. on a beautiful sunny day. I'll go ahead and move to item number 1, which is roll call, please.
Here.
Present.
Dewar? Dewar?
Here.
Hill? Member Hill will be joining. I will mark it when she joins. Martinez? Martinez as well will join virtually. Taylor?
Here.
Thank you. Vanderwell?
Here.
Zimmerman?
Here.
Charlie, I forgot your last name, sorry.
Jennings Bledsoe.
Jennings Bledsoe. All right, we have a quorum, Madam Chair.
Thank you. I'd like to move to the Pledge of Allegiance. And Sonia, would you do the honors, please?
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll move to public comments.
I do not have any public comment on cards on me. Anybody on Zoom wishing to speak, please press 9 to raise your hand. Oh, there's member Martinez. Okay, I will promote him as a panelist. Okay, so I'm going to note that member Martinez was present at the beginning of the meeting.
Thank you.
No other public comment.
Okay, great. We'll move now to possible board comments or acknowledgements. Do we have anything? Anybody online? Any of the members online?
Member Dewar?
Yes, I believe this is Sonia's last meeting. And I'm sorry I can't be there in person today. But I wanted to acknowledge her tremendous service to this organization, to TMWA. She's kept all of us board members on the straight and narrow, kept us organized. I mean, she's just frankly, a remarkable person, and we're going to sorely miss her. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Well, we are going to, at the end of the meeting, have a little bit of a celebratory send-off, but I said it the last meeting, but I'll say it again. You're going to be hard to replace, and I hope wherever you go, you find everything and more, and I know you'll be making a difference, and thank you for everything you've done here. You're really amazing, and yeah, you're going to be missed. Big shoes to fill. Big shoes to fill. All right, hearing no other board comments, no one else online, Sonia? Okay. Then we're going to move to item number 5. And before I actually call for the question for approval of the agenda, I'd like to note that we're pulling item number 8, and we're going to look at maybe having additional targeted public engagement, but more to come on that. So we're anticipating seeing this back on the agenda in March. So with the notation of pulling item number 8, may I entertain a motion at this time?
Move to approve the agenda with the amendment to pull item 8.
Thank you. We have a motion by member Anderson and a second by member Vanderwell. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you so much. I'll now move to item number 6, which is the approval of the minutes of the January 21st, 2026 meeting of the TMWA Board of Directors.
Move to approve.
We have a motion by member Vanderwell,
Second?
second by member Anderson. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. We'll move to item number 7, water supply update. Ms. Steelan, thank you.
Good morning, Board. I'm here today after you have seen our snowstorm coming in fiercely. So,
We're here.
yeah, so I actually made this presentation yesterday morning, so it's out of date at this point. But so this is again, the Truckee Basin snow water equivalent. The black line is the water, our 2026 water year. Yesterday it was at 63% of median. This morning it's at 74%. So it's on its way up. We did have very light, fluffy snow, which means it has less water content. And so even though there was 5+ feet of snow in a lot of areas, the water content just wasn't as high. So that is why it hasn't increased even more. But we are expecting an additional storm tomorrow, and then it does look like a storm next week as well. So good news for late February here. So precipitation is still above average and even more so now because we had that early season rain. So we did see a lot of our precipitation come in the form of rain instead of snow earlier in the season, but now we are seeing a lot more snow accumulation, which is great news for spring runoff and our, river flows and stream flows. Soil moisture still remains high. Again, the black line shows current soil moisture. Again, that's good for spring runoff because it increases the efficiency of that runoff, meaning more of the water ends up in the streams, river, and reservoirs instead of in the soil. So we should see good river flows. We have our observed and projected Lake Tahoe elevation through water year 2026. Lake Tahoe is about 1.5 feet below the rim currently. The blue line shows the observed, the yellow is projected flows. You can see that Lake Tahoe is anticipated to get close to filling, if not filling, depending on what happens with the additional snowpack. And similarly, we're expecting normal Truckee River flows through the water year due to that upstream reservoir storage and mostly, the upstream reservoir storage, and now that we're getting closer to a median snowpack. Current Truckee River system storage is at about 72% of capacity, and that's great news. We have about 38,000 acre feet in our TMWA drought supplies, and fluorescent rate water is about 534,000 acre feet, which again means we're going to have normal river flows through the season. Oops. For context, I know the 37,000 acre feet doesn't mean much, so I provided this graph this time around. There were questions on what that means, and basically you can see when we're in normal and wet years, the around 40,000 acre feet is great for our upstream drought reserves. We don't generally tap into those unless we're in a drought, and so you can see that that's right around average for a year like this. We are not in a drought. This probably will look different even this week. They are getting a little bit more precipitation on the east side of the state as well. This was the official snow forecast from yesterday morning. Again, you can see that a lot of areas were projected to get 60 to 72 inches of snow. Areas have seen about 5.5 to 6 feet of snow up on the Sierra Crest. So we are seeing that forecast come to fruition. And the upcoming forecast looks similar, so kind of above average precipitations expected and probably below average temperatures. So probably seeing some more storms coming through. So all good news. With that, happy to take any questions.
Thank you so much. Does anyone have any questions? Anybody, any of the members online?
Thank you very
Well,
much.
great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone needs to be safe out there. We'll move now to item 9. As a reminder, we pulled item 8, presentation of fiscal year 2026 Q2 year-to-date financial results. Mr. Bowman.
Why isn't it working? It's frozen, yeah.
We want you to have a memorable day. That's what's
Oh my
happening
gosh,
right
it
now.
crashed.
We're
It
having a
just crashed.
memorable day. If it's any consolation, there was folks before you who were also having a memorable day with you.
Yes, Jen did tell me that. It was, there we go.
Thanks, Sonia. Okay, good morning, members of the board. Matt Bowman, TMWA CFO for the record. This is our quarterly financial update, not an action item, just information. So like I did last quarter, this is a presentation format, although I did make a slight modification. I brought in the tables into the slides, which I think strikes a good balance from visual for those that don't like to look at spreadsheets and a table for those that do. So we'll go for it here. Let's get this to advance. There we go. So at a high level, through the second quarter, operating revenue starting at the top, we're basically right on with budget, which is good. Operating expenses are below budget, 6% or $4.2 million, also good. Investment earnings right about in line with budget. Connection fees, a fair bit higher than budget, although we did have a large payment come in related to the Talos Valley Booster Pump Station, so that money will be coming in and then quickly going out the door as that pump station gets constructed. Capital spending, $31.8 million through half of the year, and our cash balance since the beginning of the year is about flat. So those are the highlights. No big changes. I'll go through some of the details. Feel free to stop me with questions or save until the end. First, looking at operating revenues, again, like I said, charges for water sales within 1% of budget. So you can see total operating sales right on with budget. Hydroelectric sales look really good. We've had strong river flows and kept the plants up and running. Other operating sales are below budget, and primarily because we've seen the volume decrease a little bit on the new business inspection fees. And so lower activity levels there, but overall operating revenues right in line with budget. This chart shows gallons sold for the second quarter over the last 5 years. So each of those bars is Q2 of each of the last fiscal years. So you can kind of see what happens during the second quarter, which is a quarter of a lot of variation in our water sales and the gallons that we sell. And so you can see the current quarter, fiscal 26 on the far right, is actually a little bit lower than last second quarter of last fiscal year. And we had more precipitation in October and November of this fiscal year than we did the year before, and that's really what drove that down. But overall, water sales are right on budget, like I've said. Operating expenses, so this is important to pay attention to, and you can see the very bottom line there, we're $4.3 million or 6% lower than budget. If we jump up to the top, we can see salaries and wages below budget, their employee benefits below budget, and then services and supplies also below budget. So that's where we want to be, no big surprises. The second bullet point there, you can see just a couple of big things that we commonly talk about, electrical costs and chemical costs, both lower by about $300,000 each. But I do want to comment on electrical costs. NV Energy has their base tariff energy increase coming this quarter. It was effective January 1st, and it's going to hit us at about 10%. So it's a big increase. That's what that is their pass-through costs. It's basically dollar for dollar pass-through on what they're paying for fuel costs, mostly natural gas, as I understand it. So we will see that increase through the end of the year. I think it'll be $300,000 to $400,000 more than what it would have been otherwise. So in talking with NV Energy, they can't predict what those adjustments will be, or at least they won't disclose it and probably cannot. And so, but we don't expect those types of increases to continue over the next 12 months, but we'll see. So I did want to point that out. We'll also take that into consideration for next year's budget as well. Go to the next slide. So this is non-operating revenue and expenses. Basically, investment earnings and interest expense are the largest hitters here, and nothing too surprising here. Pretty close to budget in both instances. Again, all of our debt is fixed, so we incur what we expect to on interest expense. This is a slide I had in last time and put it in here again. This is a picture of all of our outstanding debt. And I've circled the ones in the middle there are 2015A and 2016 bonds because we are planning to refund them. Talked about this at the last board meeting. The savings are even better than they were a month ago. Again, estimated savings because we don't know what the market's going to be like on the day we price, but we're looking at 10 million or 14% on a net present value savings. So that's really, really good. And we are pricing them on March 5th. So it's coming up here in just a couple weeks. And so we'll report back after that happens and let you know how it went. This section is capital contributions. So we have mostly connection fees in here. I talked about our connection fees up about 44%. Large portion of that is related to the booster pump station for Taos Valley. And then the bottom line there, contributions from other governments is lower just because of the delayed start in the construction of American Flat and what we would get reimbursed from Reno on that. Slide on capital spending. So I showed this last quarter, and what we see here are the last 5 quarters of capital spend, actual to budget. So we tend to come in 60 to 65% of budget throughout the year. However, we do have a goal now where we want to increase that to 75%. That doesn't necessarily mean we're going to spend more. It just means that we're going to be a little more accurate and realistic in what we're projecting that we can accomplish as far as capital goes. And so through half of the year, we're about 64% of budget. And that's excluding American Flat because that's a big project. And so we don't want that to impact that 75% goal. That's a picture of Chalk Bluff, which we've had the plant down and doing some major work up there, which has been really good. And then just the last bullet, our Orvidge pump station's wrapping up, and that was a big project. And so that one's coming to an end. And then just to sum it up, revenue and operating expense remains stable. Our cash position is just about unchanged from the beginning of the year at 160 million. All of our reserves are funded. We have unrestricted cash of 104 million. Upcoming refunding that I talked about. Again, the pricing is March 5th, and we'll close those bonds on April 2nd. And then we plan to close on the SRF bonds towards the end of April. And again, those are going to be at 1% to fund American Flat. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Thank you. This is an informational item. Does anyone have any questions? I guess I'll go online. Is there anyone that, anybody's hands raised? Okay. Member Hill, can you hear us okay?
Yes, I can. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Great. Any questions?
No, thank you.
Okay. All right. Great job. Love the visuals. It's always great to see numbers be a little fun.
We try.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, great. We'll move now to an overview of the strategic planning process using the effective utility management framework. Mr. Zimmerman, you might want to open this up a little bit.
Yes, yep. So this will be me, Jessica Atkinson, and invite Danny Rotter to come down too. We've been kind of spearheading it along with a lot of help from Cami Luray, really facilitating it. It would have been a lot more work and a lot less organized without her efforts. So so the purpose of this agenda item is to give the board a brief overview of what we're doing with strategic planning. So just to remind the board, back in the fall, you approved a new general manager goal, which was to begin to implement strategic planning using the EUM water utility management approach. In this fall, we'll provide a more detailed overview of the EUM framework, but today I just wanted to provide that brief overview. And then also it flows into the next agenda item regarding the general manager evaluation process. So EUM, you'll see on the next slide. So what is it? It's a strategic planning framework that several numerous water utility associations at the national level and also organizations create. You'll see that, TMWA is an effectively run utility. That's the center target in the green outer ring there. Those are the 10 attributes that the developers of this framework came up with. as far as the 10 attributes of a highly effective utility. And then the outer blue ring are what they call the 5 keys to management success. And so those are just kind of pillars that sort of provide the scaffolding as you go forward with the EUM process. And I'll pause there and let Jessica or Danny chime in as well.
The only thing that I would really like to add on this is we've all worked really closely and discussed this a lot. And something that I think is inspiring about moving to this framework is that those of you who have participated in our strategic planning sessions, our goals are very departmental, very siloed, and this allows us to really kind of look across the organization, have a more holistic view of our goals, which I think from an employee perspective helps employees really see where they fit into the organization and how what they do each day makes an impact, as opposed to if you're just looking at department by department goals. So I think the 10 attributes I think is going to be really helpful, not just from the strategic planning, but communications all the way down to the employee level.
Danny Rotter, for the record, one thing I would just add from my experience in the last 12, 13 years in local government and utility space is watching this develop with the EPA and the AWWA and national water utilities. Really, TMWA has been parallel to that track in its strategic planning. So pivoting to this, as you start to look at it, is really all the things we already do. And so that's why we kind of reiterate all the time that we are an effectively run utility. But the exciting part is being able to quantify and just continue to raise the bar across the board every day. So that's what I'm excited about.
And these next 2 slides, just for reference, they just talk about the associations and then the water utilities that were involved in making up this process. It started in about 2006, was finalized, I think, in 2011, 2012, and then they revamped it again and changed a few things, but not much. But that's kind of how it got created. The next slide lists the 10 attributes that they're fairly self-explanatory. I think part of the reason I like this is it really, at its core, it breaks down silos because instead of presenting by department, goals will be presenting by attributes. It also allows us to communicate more effectively with employees about how what they do on a daily basis goes to TMWA's vision of providing high-quality water for this community, and each of those 10 attributes. And so I'll go into a little bit of how the process works. This is a continuous improvement process. It's a cycle. And so you start out with, you have the keys to management success that kind of are the binders on both sides. So it starts with strategic planning and then also leadership, goes into those 10 attributes. At the top, you'll see it's not important to note, but they've combined 2 of them just to simplify it. So regulatory and reliability is combined with operational optimization. And then customer experience and satisfaction is combined with stakeholder understanding and support. They did that because those are fairly similar attributes and to simplify the process going forward. And then on the back end of it, after you go through that self-assessment of those attributes, then it becomes, okay, this is where the work begins. How do we measure it? How do we manage this continuous improvement? And for us too, how do we manage this knowledge? Because we've gone through a lot of succession planning. There's been a lot of experience that's walked out the door. We've done a good job of trying to capture as much as possible, but this will also help with that because you'll have employees up and down the org chart and across different departments talking with each other and more fully understanding the constraints and the priorities of those other areas. So this is the cycle, the process. So it starts with a self-assessment. And so we had, and again, you can tailor this to your utility. It's meant to provide all utilities, including not just drinking water, but also wastewater utilities, to use this, tailor it to your own circumstances. But it starts with a self-assessment where for us, we have the entire management team. So those are the directors, the managers, the supervisors, myself and Danny. That's 39 individual employees that went through this self-assessment process. You rate all of the attributes as far as how we're doing from an effectiveness perspective. And then you also rank them in terms of what are the most priority attributes to look at today and maybe in the near term, short term, 3 to 5 years out. And so that'll be part of what Jessica presents and talks about in the next agenda item, and then also part of my annual evaluation, because it's a little bit of a report card of what the utility, how we're doing and what we need to focus on. And then right now we're in the process of that strategic business planning where we're looking at our existing goals, how they fit into this process. There are example practices. I think there's over 130, 140 example practices that are sort of, you can look at them as best practices that the EUM group came up with. And so we're also looking at those, vetting them, and deciding which ones make sense for us with the priority attributes we've identified. You know, it's eating an elephant. You can't do it all at once. And they really strongly recommend, don't look at all 10 attributes and try to start improving on all of them. Look at some priority ones. And again, I've tried to emphasize with our group that it's a process. It's not going to be perfect. It's the first time we're going through it. But then you go into implementing those effective practices, measuring them, looking at timing, progress reports. How often are we going to look at that through the year? And then at the end of the year, you know, in October of 2027, we'll look back and see, okay, how did we do? And then the process starts over again with the self-assessment. So here's the timeline. Because we're switching, right now we have our fiscal year 26 goals. So we'll come back in October and talk about those by department, because that's how they're structured right now. We don't want to change that midstream. And then in 2027, when we come back to you, in October 2026, we will talk about the 2027 fiscal year goals. A lot of them will be the same as you've seen in the past. We're not throwing those out. We're just going to be organizing them by attribute and really focusing on the attributes that we've identified in the self-assessment. And then fast forward to October 2027, that's when we'll come back to you and we'll be kind of in full swing under the new process, where we'll talk about those existing goal results under the framework and then going forward into 2028. Go ahead, Jess.
So did you want me to go through this
Yeah,
slide?
go ahead. Thank you.
So this slide kind of just takes us through why it matters for TMWA's future, and really kind of it hits on three pillars that we think everybody will resonate and get behind, and that's it enhances organizational culture. So as we continue to cultivate a workforce grounded in continuous learning, strong technical skills, and a spirit of innovation, it reinforces community sustainability. So our role in supporting the economic, environmental, and social health of the community we serve. And then the final pillar there is just resiliency. So by proactively identifying and managing risks, we're able to better maintain reliability, continuity, and long-term operational stability. Again, we're all really excited about this. We know there's still a lot of work to be done, and it's not going to be a perfect process, but just looking at what it has to hold and what we can do with it is really super exciting.
Yeah, I think in just starting this process, really what I've come to understand is a lot of the value is just in the discussion. It really triggers a lot of important conversations internally. And then I'm looking forward when we communicate it to the board, having those higher level goals that the board, it's just easier to understand, easier to contemplate. It's not into the minutia of the day-to-day. So with that, we'll stop and we can answer any questions. Again, we don't want to do too much of a deep dive. We just wanted to give you a broad overview, let you know where the self-assessment fits in and kind of next steps. And then we'll come back in the fall when we present this with new goals. That's when we'll have more time in October at that strategic planning meeting to give more information. Thank you.
Thank you. I just add, before I open it up to questions, that the effective utility management framework model is now actually a cut and paste on my computer. And I say that because if you look at the 5 key management success and the 10 attributes, those have nothing to do with water. And they have everything to do with an effective organization. And I have shared this with many, many folks because I think that where you're moving is just amazing. And really it's kudos to you, Mr. Zimmerman, and you, for actually coming up and identifying this, and now how do you matriculate this into the organization? I think that the continuous improvement process is something that every organization should have, and you're living and breathing it. I think the alignment of how everything connects and really having the entire organization be a part of that is really a testament to what this model and framework is really intended to do and really push that lever. I think there's an old saying that you don't know if you've reached where your destination is if you don't have a roadmap to get there. And everyone will know that. And that, I think that transparency is also to be commended. I'm not going to move into the next agenda item, but I'm containing myself because I'm excited to see how we're going to tie this in, but we'll talk about that in a minute. So does anyone have any questions about the EUM? Anybody online? Well, I just can't wait to see how this all really spans out. And it isn't just, a sprint. This is really a measured approach. 100% a measured approach. And I'll just share with you that I saw recently that the definition of culture equals values plus behavior. And I thought that was also an interesting thing to share, and it fits very well into this. So look forward to culture, sustainability, and resilience being the model.
Thank you, Chair.
Madam Chair?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. I also wanted to compliment the staff on moving in this direction. I've been on TMWA for going on 12 years now. And to see this evolution from, as you pointed out, the silos within the departments, it hasn't really made, they were important goals each year, but you really didn't get a sense of where the whole organization was going and how everything worked together. And I really liked your circular chart that shows the process, it kind of outlines the process. And I'm really pleased that you guys have adopted this approach. I want to get the PowerPoint separately and send it back to our Reno staff because they're right now working through their strategic plan. And I think your process charts in particular would be really helpful to them. So thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Anderson?
Actually, that's something that Member Dewar brought up that would be great. If you could actually forward the PowerPoint presentation to the members, I think that would be helpful as well. But I just want to say, great job. I'll just leave it at that. Great job. I really appreciate what you guys are doing here.
And if you want even more, you can actually Google, because I've dove into this, the effective utility management framework, and you will find everything and more. So really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thanks for your leadership and vision and really looking at making TMWA the best it can be. And our community benefits, that's really the bigger piece of this. It's for our community. So thank you. We'll move now to item number 11. And this is a discussion and possible action regarding the proposed process, timeline, and milestone sequencing related to potential amendment of the general manager's employment agreement. Ms. Atkinson.
Thank you very much. For the record, Jessica Atkinson, Human Resources Director. Next, I'm going to walk you guys through the recommended process and timeline related to the general manager's employment agreement, including next steps for determining whether the board wishes to negotiate an amendment. As you may recall, last June, we presented an overview of the general manager's employment agreement and included some discussion on the performance evaluation process and the key contractual dates. At that time, we highlighted the requirement that the board and general manager must meet and confer no later than May 31st of 2026 to determine whether both parties wish to negotiate an amendment. And during that meeting, the board chair also asked staff to review the evaluation process to better align timing, enhance quality of performance information, and to strengthen objectivity through third-party data collection. So since June, we've been working hard behind the scenes and meeting with the chair to kind of iron out some of these details. And really, there was 3 goals that we kept in mind during our work groups, and that was to ensure that there was broader organizational insight in the evaluation process. And so that's where we landed on incorporating feedback from directors, managers, and supervisors using that effective utility management framework that we just discussed. And really, as we said before, this is a third-party sponsored, structured process that we can scale and use for our organization. But what it does is it really provides insight into our strengths and opportunities and where we really want to dig in to make it an impact. The third goal was to improve the sequencing. There was a lot of talk around when certain things happen, such as compensation decisions, the evaluation, and how that worked together. So our goal was to rework that so that it just made sense that the board received information before they needed to make decisions. And so you'll see that in the sequencing that I'll go over next. And then the final kind of point and goal that the board chair had for us was really to ensure objectivity by incorporating the use of a third party to help with data collection for the performance feedback. And so the recommendation is to use the board's legal counsel to make that happen, to be the keeper and the sender of the survey and the data and get that information tabulated and back to the board. So together, we believe these updates create a more comprehensive data-informed foundation for the board to go into the evaluation process. So next, I want to just go through timelines. And hopefully Sonia passed out. I think I'm going to do this right. I don't know. I used my friend AI to help with this so that my staff report was really content rich, and I thought we could break it up a little bit with some visuals here. But really what we're talking about is the next several months, there's a lot of activity around the general manager's employment agreement and upcoming performance appraisal. It's really kind of broken into two phases. You can see from the handout, the first phase is really the preparation and initial discussions. Those are activities that happen March through June. And then phase 2 is where we move into the annual performance evaluation and implementation. And so what I'm proposing is that in March, the board chair would issue a written notice to the general manager, letting him know that in April, the board would be reviewing his performance and contractual agreement. And that would take us into April. In April, I would come back to the board with 3 agenda items. And those items are a summary of the general manager's accomplishments and evaluation results since he started working under the contract. So there will be several years of data that we'll be presenting in summary form. And the purpose of that presentation is so that you guys have the information that you need in order to authorize and allow individuals of the board, the recommendation is the chair and vice chair with counsel from HR and legal, to either negotiate a contract amendment with Mr. Zimmerman or develop next steps for an executive search. And then the third item that would be presented in April would just be a compensation analysis. This would be an informational only item. I go to our third-party comp analyst and have them do a market survey so that they come back with recommendations and thoughts regarding the general manager compensation. So whether it's to, the decision is to negotiate an amendment or do an executive search, that you guys are informed with what the market does for pay for that level of position. So then, depending on the board's direction, in April and May, staff will either support negotiations with Mr. Zimmerman on an amendment or be working to develop an executive search plan. And then the goal would be to come back in May or June with 2 additional items. That would be either a negotiated contract amendment for Mr. Zimmerman or a proposed executive search for the board to take action on. And then the final item would be the performance evaluation process and timelines for the fiscal year of 2026. And so that kind of completes phase 1, and then we would move into phase 2, and phase 2 would be August. The board would receive, as they normally do heading into the fall, the general manager goal results for fiscal year 26 and the EUM assessment. So this would be where we would be presenting to the board for the first time the assessment that all supervisors, managers, and directors did under the EUM, identifying opportunities for improvement, and then the plan for improving in those particular areas. And then following that meeting, the survey window would open. This would be the actual performance evaluation survey that would now be headed up by board counsel, so that it adds that layer of objectivity. And then once that's complete, then in September, we would come back to the board with the results of the performance evaluation survey and turn it over to the board to do the public process of evaluating the general manager's performance. So that's the plan. The sequencing, again, hopefully helps to put you guys in a situation where you have information before you're asked to make decisions along the way. And with that, I'll take any questions, or I can move to our recommended motion if you want.
Well, we'll have pause for questions. Does anybody have any questions?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
Alexis here. I just want to commend you. I know you have been working on this since you became our chair, and I'm really excited about this new process. And Ms. Atkins, thank you for your hard work on this. I think this is a great process and probably something we should be looking at in our other organizations.
Already shared it.
We're copying TMWA all over the place. So
I know.
TMWA, you get a gold star, and I don't even like hearing the idea of going out for an executive search. I'm just going to put that on the record. So anyway, thank you so much.
Thank you. Any other comments or
Madam Chair?
Member Dorr?
Yeah, I too, you know, you and I began this process when I was chair, and there was so much confusion about how the review took place. It was very frustrating that we had these milestones on compensation that were out of sequence with the evaluation. Like the two seemed to be tied, should be tied. And it looks like really turn this upside down and put it back in a proper order. So I really appreciate it because it'll be much easier to make our assessments. And I'm with Ms. Hill. I don't like this conversation about, you know, starting a search or something. I mean, if there was something not working, I mean, we would work to address it, but things have been going very well. So anyway, I really appreciate the work that you have continued. Thank you.
Thank you. Any, Mr. Anderson?
Actually, just want to say thank you to the chair, Ms. Atkinson, everyone that's been involved in this project. And I just want to reassure you that the third party, nothing against you and who you are as an individual or your department. But I just want to say in recent past, we've seen situations where employees felt that things weren't moving forward with the HR department because they reported directly to their superior. And I truly appreciate the third party involvement here. And again, I just want to make sure it's clear that it's not that we don't trust you or like you, but in a way, if anything, we're making your job easier. So thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Well, I would like to actually share the biggest thank you to Mr. Zimmerman and Ms. Atkinson, really looking at the time that was spent. Ms. Atkinson certainly spent, I think, a couple hours in my office, and we really pushed our sleeves up and looked at what we collectively could do with Mr. Zimmerman's leadership as well, and including the vice chair in those discussions. The fact is that I think I made a little bit of a joke, but maybe not really, that every board I chair, this may not ever put me in a chair position in any other entity, because that's one of the places that I really pride myself in having a good grounding in. I'm certainly not suggesting that I know the answers, but I know that it's not something that is actually looked at least from my perspective, with the depth it should be, not in any oversight way, but just because there seems to be a process, we've been doing it the same way, let's just keep on doing it. And then learning about the effective utility management framework, that to me was that North Star to really align everything. And I'll just share what I shared with Mr. Zimmerman. A lot of times evaluations are always looked at as, certainly tied to performance, but the tool and the way we've put this framework together actually gives Mr. Zimmerman an opportunity to look at the organization as a whole and also a different light as well. What are we doing right? What can we do better? How do we celebrate this? How do we adjust? How do we be nimble? How do we stay within this effective utility management framework? So it's a long way of saying a huge thank you to embracing this really shift of the alignment that I hope can be replicated, because once you have this in place, then you can look at how is the EUM coming into place? How does that look? And I think the employees can also be aligned with that and feel that they truly are valued. And I'm not saying they're not, but really see the outcome of their value and their hard work. And I think that that's something to be celebrated. So thank you so, so much. Yes, I've shared this with Washoe County as well. So we'll see what happens since I'm chair of the commission in that regard. But I can't thank you all enough. I certainly appreciate the board's time and understanding with this move, and I'm eager to see how this all works out. So thank you so much. But I do believe there's a motion that we'll entertain, and are you wanting to address that motion?
I am happy to. We're looking for the board to move to approve the proposed process timeline and related milestone sequencing for determining whether to negotiate an amendment to the general manager's employment agreement as presented in the staff report.
Do we have a motion?
Move to approve as presented.
Great. We have a motion by Mr. Anderson and a second by Ms. Vanderwell. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Can I say thank you a million times? Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, we'll move now to item number 12. Mr. Zimmerman.
Thanks, Chair Andriola. So I wanted to touch on and just reiterate and emphasize what Danny said about EUM. I mean, TMWA has been doing this, and so I think we have that culture of continuous improvement, and I want to thank, the current folks who have been here since the beginning or longer, for putting this all together and really for putting us on the right trajectory. This framework, it gives us something to bind everything together, but really a lot of credit goes to prior boards and prior TMWA leadership in getting us in this direction. So I just wanted to put that on the record. Then we have an update on the River Oak community out in Verdi. Member Hill really spearheaded an effort to put together a community meeting where everybody could come and get all their questions answered. And so I also want to thank Eddie Qualieri from TMWA for really putting it all together and organizing it. It'll be next Tuesday night, I believe, February 24th at the River Oak facility. Again, the purpose of the meeting is to have the Public Utilities Commission and TMWA and the utility present on how the wholesale connection will work, the timelines, what to expect, and any other questions they might have. We'll also have members of the River Oak Homeowners Association, the Verdi Meadows Utility Company that runs that drinking water system, and then also NDEP's Office of Finance. So again, thank you, Eddie. Dave Kershaw, our engineering manager on the planning side, will be presenting for TMWA, and then Eddie, Danny Rotter, and myself will be in the audience if there's any questions. And we're also having Kim Rigdon from Western Regional just facilitate the discussion. So look forward to that. And that's all I have, Chair.
I have a question.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Zimmerman?
I have a
Yes.
question. Yeah,
Member Dewar.
Mr. Zimmerman, I attended
Can you
that
speak up
first-
just a little bit? I'm sorry to interrupt you, but,
Yep.
okay.
I think the sound is just turned down in the room. It's been throughout Western Regional and this meeting, but can you hear me better?
Yes.
Okay. I was at that first meeting with yourself and Alexis, and what I didn't realize is, has a decision been made to move forward with wholesale connection?
Yes, Member Dewar, I think back in October, the PUC, the PUC staff recommended the wholesale connection, and then the commission adopted that. That order provides certain timelines for the utility and the PUC to update the River Oak community. So this will be a little bit part of that.
Several of them had called me recently, and I was trying to sort out with this meeting. There was a lot of confusion on their part about what the meeting was about, who was attending, making sure they were informed. And it sounds like maybe they're back on track in terms of the people that live there.
I think so. I mean, there's always a little bit of confusion depending on what people hear and where they get their information. But I think for the most part, everybody is clear on the purpose of the meeting. And then I also we'll have Washoe County representative there too as well.
Okay, good. Thank you.
And Madam Chair, Alexis here.
Yes.
I do want to also thank Councilmember Dewar, who helped us chair kind of get this going to make it a priority for TMWA. So thank you for that. And
You bet.
I really appreciate the TMWA team just stepping up and overly communicating even before we have a partnership with this neighborhood. They have gone through it, and I'm happy to talk at length to members if you want to hear the ins and outs of what happened here. But I just really appreciate Mr. Zimmerman and all of his team for stepping up. I'll be at the meeting on Tuesday. I really look forward to clarifying what the next steps are, because there is confusion to member doers' questions. And this will be a great way for us to talk about those timelines and what's next, and hopefully figure out how we're going to pay for this and how we're going to support this community. So thank you again. I really appreciate the update.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Well, again, Mr. Zimmerman, it's leadership, and it all starts from the top in terms of everyone having that culture. And we're seeing that again exemplified. So hearing no other requests for comments or discussion on item number 12, we're going to move to number 13, which is public comment. Do we have any public comment? All right, we are going to do something special with item 14. I bet you could probably guess, Ms. Folsom, what that might be. Okay, well, it's a surprise, and we're wanting to have it be a part of the meeting because we want to make sure all of the members are a part of this. So those of you online, I'm going to ask if you could just hang on for just a moment. Mr. Zimmerman, I'm going to turn it over to you, please, and we can talk about this big surprise.
Sure. Thank you, Chair Andriola. So again, I've said it in the past, and I'll say it again. Sonia has dedicated over 11 years to TMWA, and for the last 4 years with me directly as the general manager. She always goes above and beyond to help, excuse me, to help TMWA employees on whether it's presentations, event preparation, office needs, travel issues, all hours of the night, and numerous other issues. We're all going to miss her energy and just her devotion to TMWA, and we wish her all the best of luck. And we do have a parting gift that she'll probably be able to guess what the gift is, because all TMWA retirees get that, but I'll give it to the chair.
Great. So where are we doing this?
You could do it down here. And
I think you wanted to do it down here. So you're coming too. All of us are coming. And all of us online are coming. You're welcome to join us online. I don't know where you want us either. So, on behalf of the entire board of TMWA and all of the TMWA employees who actually even got to experience you and the greatness that you bring to TMWA, I really want to actually thank you with this gift to commemorate all of your hard work. Thank you. Should we take a picture with the gift? You can open it. Do we do like a drum roll?
I did not expect this.
What could it be? What could it be?
Rosalinda hid this for me really well. It's a clock.
It's a clock.
Beautiful clock. Thank you. Okay. All right.
Do you want to go over the side or?
We're good.
Can we fit everybody? I don't know. Okay.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you so much.
Those are the things you want to be involved in, right?
Right.
Thanks again, Sonia. We still are in item 14, which is board comments and requests for future agenda items. Does anybody have any comments or requests for future agenda items? Anybody online?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I just want to thank Sonia for her service to TMWA, and I'm so grateful for her time supporting our community, and it's been a joy to get to know her also through our master's program, but also through her great work at TMWA. And I just want to say thank you so much. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Anyone else? Well, Sonia, how do you feel?
Surprised, thank you.
Oh,
I appreciate all your kind words and support, and for the board members online, I appreciate your support as well, and Mr. Zimmerman's continued positive words as well. It's humbling, and I will miss you all. Thank you very much.
well, please keep in touch. Please, please, let us know how you're doing. Anyone else? All right. Well, we're going to call for adjournment at, oh, I have 10:56. Oh, all right. Call for adjournment at 10:56.